Well, greetings, Blade fans. OG Blades back with you once again for another review on a fine knife that I've been very impressed with. This company, Kunwu. You may recall this guy, the X Padre, that I did a review on not that long ago. This one has the diamond pattern on the titanium handle. Really nice and grippy. I went a little different with the one you're going to see in a moment, and a little different blade style, and they've varied it up nicely, but this is just a gorgeous knife. And I'll put that aside for a moment. I'll bring it back out for a contrast when you see the next one coming up. And bear with me while I do a little bit of an unboxing. I'm not known for unboxings, generally speaking. I did one on the other Kunwu you just saw, and got a little bit of flack back from people that were saying I was wasting their time by, showing stickers and, bags and whatnot. Well, that's called an unboxing, folks. And if you don't like unboxings, you can probably skip ahead a couple of minutes and get right into the review. I'll say this, and I'll get up on my soapbox. Here's some hands, something for you to look at. I realize, we all need visual stimulus, right? It's like we're deprived of stimulus somehow. So we need to have something going on. Even older guys, I'm finding out, need that. They get impatient. I'll say this very simply: if you are in control of fast forward. And I know I watch the stats on my videos, and sometimes for a 15-minute video, there's 2 minutes of watch time. So people are definitely skipping around. Those that want to stick with me and are getting bored, I suggest that you do the same. I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want you to be unhappy. But hey, the controller stick, so to speak, is in your hand. So you do what you need to do. I'm simply putting the content out there. I do this because I enjoy knives. I really enjoy knives. And, I don't live near a lot of folks that also enjoy knives, so this is my way of sharing. So consider this a sharing of my excitement and enthusiasm about these beautiful, in many cases, works of art and functional tools. Okay. Off the soapbox, and yes, it's been almost 3 minutes. I'm timing it on the camera here. Probably a little more than that once I tag the intro onto this video. But let's get at it, shall we? And by now you've either stayed with me or you have skipped ahead. And if you've skipped ahead, that's fine. That's fine. Whoever watches a whole movie, you skip ahead. If you're watching it with your wife or your girlfriend or whomever, significant other, you may not do that because you kind of get under the skin of the other person. All right. We've got a beautiful blue shiny box here. And I couldn't find the label on the last one. That's because it's in an unusual place and an unusual color. But this is what we're going to be unboxing right here. And you can see it is the Pulsar XL. And this is going to have a little different finish than the one I just showed you. But I like the fact that they give us a bag, a little different rather than a pouch, and it's a lined bag. I was impressed by that. I'm impressed by the fact that we have a nice certificate of authenticity, and I don't think I put all of the really nice stickers in there, and that's okay. Just one less thing to show you. Silica gel, blah, 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 blah. There's the knife, and it's nicely presented, I would say. So here is a much larger knife than the X Padre. This is the Pulsar XL. And yes, it certainly is an XL at about 3.85 or so inches. And take a look at the surface here. This is still a fairly grippy titanium because it is what they call an orange peel. Not sure you can see that if the light is going to render that well for you, but it is a textured surface. which they call orange peel. I've seen other types of orange peel. There's orange peel in flashlight reflectors. There's orange peel on different sorts of surfaces. This is a very fine one. So it's not what I would call slippery. And many of you might prefer the other version of this, which has this texture, the diamond texture. And I'm sort of leaning towards the diamond texture, but basically I had my choice at White Mountain, which this is where that came from. That is where this came from. Switching things around already. It's early in the morning on a Sunday that I'm doing this. Look at the blade, however. This is what I would call a Spearpoint blade. It is satin finished, just as the Expadre was, and it has a very similar opening hole, except we don't have some of the other features, which I'll point out in a moment. It's slightly different. It has their X-Lock. I believe that's what they're calling it. That's why the Expadre and a Pulsar XL obviously would refer to the size of it. And it's a good hand-filling size. Look at that. Got about a good 3/4 of an inch left over. We've got an excellent jimping on the top here, little different, a little bit more narrowly spaced than on the Expadre. And one thing I notice on this one is that they crowned the spine of this. That's something I've only seen for the most part on the Italian-made knives from Lion Steel, and some of those from Fox and maybe Viper, but nicely sculpted and chamfered handle on this one with a sizable lanyard hole. We seem to get that with the Kunwu knives, and very nice jimping. I mean, the engineering and the workmanship on these Kunwu knives is just really outstanding. And one thing they did on this one is we have a clip, and let me check it. Well, see, I was getting some pull over here, but that's from the screws. Does look like that is a titanium clip, which makes it even more unusual because it is a bent or turned titanium clip, as opposed to a milled titanium clip that you see on the Expadre. I believe that is milled out. Yeah, it would have to be. This looks like simply a bent steel clip, but it isn't. It's titanium, and I'm going to think that it's out of a piece of sheet metal and it's bent. So won't obsess on that too much. But we've got some nice chamfering here. It is extremely flat, and we're going to measure it up because we're starting to talk about dimensions. And what do we have? We have 8.9. What am I going to call that? I'm going to call it an 895. How about that? Could be wrong. But when it gets into the tiny little parts of the inch, I think we're better off with some other measuring devices. And here we have, like I thought was going to be a 385. I'm going to call that a 3.9 with a cutting edge just over 3.5 inches, because as with the Expadre, we have a usable, sizable full finger choil. Very, very nice. And that leaves us, once we choke up there, that leaves us with probably almost 2 inches left over of handle. It's excellent in the hand, and the flatness of it really, really gives it some extra ergos. And we're going to measure the thicknesses up here. 3.1, so fairly thin and high and slicey. And 0.12 on the inches, and I think this is going to be thin. No? Well, yeah, 0.52 is thin for this size knife. Very often we look at the thickness or thinness of a handle, we look at the rest of the dimensions too, and it's a fairly tall handle. It helps to turn the scale on. And, ooh, she's heavy. 6 1/4 ounces. Didn't expect it to weigh that much, but again, you got a lot of steel here, for sure. And do we have any weight relieving on the inside? That is a question as well. Yeah, we do. Look at those pockets. Wow, both sides. Plenty of weight relieving on those scales. Well, this is interesting. Okay, so what's weight relieved are liners, kind of hidden liners. And what we've got really going on here, this is real interesting. Or maybe it's just the way they milled it. No, these are inserts, okay? So we have steel inserts, which is probably why. I wonder if my magnet will show this up. This is a new discovery from what I saw earlier. Yeah, that's the draw of the magnet. So these are fully milled out titanium handle slabs, but inserted inside are steel hidden liners. And that is, I think someone else had mentioned that. Rather than just put a little, insert up here around the locking mechanism, they go all the way back. So I think that really increases the strength of the handle. I'm not an engineer in regards to knives at least, but I'm thinking that putting those steel liners all the way up to the very end, it does increase the strength in the handle, and it does not feel like a heavy knife. It's got a beautiful balance, which is right into that finger groove. It's got a very nice contour to the handle. The chamfering here and the contouring give you a really fine hold on this blade. Just really feels good. As a working knife, I would say that you've got lots of potential here. You've got a high flat grind. You've got a point which you can still use right about there. It does drop significantly, but I'd almost call it a spear. I mean, if you look at the profile there, it's almost equal on both sides. Really, really nice. And I'm going to see if I can grab a piece of paper because it's a slicey knife. Well, I was testing a new paper cutter, so I've got this shape. Kind of a stop sign. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, wow, smooth. Yeah, I mean, this is just like the X Padre. It is so smooth. And you know what's helping it is not just the high flat grind, but the slickness of the blade surface with that satin finish helps paper just glide right through. That is a slicing beast. Absolutely. I mean, this is an excellent working knife. I wouldn't deem this necessarily a tactical knife. I really don't think it is. I think probably that designation might be more in line with this guy, which I showed you earlier. That's the X Padre we keep talking about. You can see the difference in handle texture. You can see the difference in length. We've got about 3/4 of an inch longer overall. If I have them lined up, maybe I don't. I guess we're going to expand that out to about an inch, close to an inch, not quite. And we definitely have a longer blade. So while both of them have ample handles, we've got just a bit more handle on the Pulsar XL. If we put one more out here for compare, here's the Ontario Rat, #1. And hey, you know, that Ontario Rat 1, she's a long knife, but not quite out there with the XL Pulsar. Nope, at least a ½ inch longer on that one. And what else do we have in the way of a big knife? Well, it's the one I'm carrying, and that is the Microtech MSI. And it's just a little bit longer. Wow, didn't expect that. Thought they'd be about the same. Blades are the same, yes, just about the same. But let's see, yeah. You know, you could call them the same size knife. I'm not going to get all picky about it, but it's very slightly much longer. And look at that, similar locks. I do like the lock on the MSI just a little bit smoother, a little easier to access. This you can, I've got a weak left hand still, or weak right hand, so we're going to do it with the left. You can pull it back, you just got to watch that guillotine drop. One trick that you can do is when you drop it, don't have the blade up like that, have the blade maybe slightly down from even, and then you can flick it the rest of the way into the handle. The action is quite smooth once you do that. And again, this can be open because of the opening hole, and I wanted to show you the difference there too. You can see how this is sort of expanded out into what you could almost call not really a fuller, but they milled a little extra beyond the hole, so you've got that kind of a chamfered area there that doesn't go all the way through. And on the Pulsar, you see that it's just a straight out hole, and it's a larger hole. So they're just doing things, you know, changing it up a little bit different on each one. But getting back to the lock, I do better by pulling back on both. Again, just watch the fingies. And yeah, I mean, you can pull back on one. It's just when you do that, it's just a little bit gritty. Then again, it's a new knife and it's going to break in. But for me, and I have to emphasize that because we all handle knives differently. We're all built differently. We're different ages, different hand strength, different dexterity. It rolls out beautifully for me and comes back very nicely by pulling back on both sides of that X lock. And little larger lanyard hole here. Got jimping on the back spacer. Got jimping on the back spacer here. Just set up a little bit differently. This is a deep carry clip, and I do like the way that they milled straight through the K for Kunwu. You can there. So you can see that that's actually cut through that K. Is it a K this way? No, it's not a K that way. It's only a K this way, which would make sense. Nicely done. And is the pocket clip switchable? Absolutely. And look at this. They give you a full titanium blank in there, not just a piece of steel, but that is a full titanium blank that is milled out, and that's covering the second hole underneath that blank. Beautifully sculpted to fit the handle, so you barely know it's there. I mean, that's really, really nice workmanship. There you have it, the Pulsar XL by Kunwu Knives. And this is a brand, again, that I'm going to keep my eye on because I think you do for around $250 for each one. You get, I think that is a pretty good price when some of these are going to be over that. And Elmax on both, by the way, if I didn't mention that. You'll see that in the text that comes up on the overlay there. But Really, really nice job. It's a knife I can recommend for sure. Be well, take care, and don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. I'll be back soon.